Well, I wasn't going to come hang gliding today because the weather forecast in the Dale in Derbyshire was clouded over. It's all right for soaring, but a pretty dull day. And then this guy here gives me a ring at 7:30 this morning and woke me up and said, "Are you coming flying?" I said, "Nah." He says, "Well, it's going to be sunny." So we've come to North Yorkshire where it's sunny. So this is Carlton Bank, and this is the view from Carlton Bank. I've actually never flown Carlton Bank before, and I am not a member at this site. So Kevin Gay, if you're watching, send me details of where to send my fiver, or even better yet, send me some details of how I can join up, and I'll join the North Yorkshire Club. Carlton Bank in North Yorkshire, where I've never flown before, and Steve is going to give us a briefing.
Okay, right. Well, this is Takeoff. You've rigged your glider in the rigging spot. That's good start. Good start. We're gonna take off on this piece of grass here, which is smack bang into wind right now, and it's got nice clearance to be able to run and get clear of the header. The ridge is flyable. Don't go much beyond the trig point over there, but you can go quite a way down the ridge in that direction. Hopefully it'll be really good, and hopefully some thermals will come and we can climb out. If you do think you're going to go down, sensitive site insofar as the fields at the bottom of the hill have got horses in them, and they get very upset if you try and land too close or overfly. So you need to make a run very reasonably early and go to either of those two fields just in the distance. The one on the right hand side, as we're looking at it, there's actually a gate in the right hand corner of it where you can actually get access to the road to get out. So it's nice and flat down there, plenty big field, so you can land it quite easily.
Super. And what direction of wind does this hill take? Let's see.
West northwest.
West northwest. West to northwest.
West northwest is
just
the optimum direction.
Okay.
But it will take west through to northwest.
Okay.
But west northwest is smack on.
Super duper. Let's go flying. Well, according to my vario, the wind is west / almost southwest, so probably west southwest, about 13-14 miles an hour. As you heard from Steve before in the briefing, this site likes a west northwest wind, so the wind is actually off to the left as you're looking at the ridge, as you're looking out from the ridge when you stood on it. Consequently, when I'm flying in this direction, which is south, then I'm flying in a slower speed over the ground than when I'm flying in the other direction, because I've got the wind blowing me that way. The ridges work best when the wind is coming at 90 degrees to the ridge, coming straight up the ridge. So it's actually coming at a bit of an angle. The other thing to consider is thermals, thermic activity. There are some little bits of thermals coming through, but not a lot. So I've done a little bit of thermal in here, where you circle in the lift and go up in that thermal. You can, on a good day, get all the way to the clouds using thermals. But today is not particularly good for it. There is some, but not a lot. That's why hang gliders prefer sunny days, so you get all the thermals on sunny days, which this is. It's also to do with pressure and lapse rate. So there we go, this is Carlton Bank. You can fly all the way down Carlton Bank on a good day. I don't think today. Steve's actually landed on the top. I don't know if you can see him, but he's just over that way. So he's had enough for now. He's just been soared along, but that's his first flight this year. So it's just getting used to the flying again. So well done, Steve, nice one. It is actually, despite the wind being not quite the correct direction, it's relatively smooth. There are some bumpy bits, but it's mostly fairly smooth up here, which, to be fair, I would not expect it to be smooth when the wind is in the wrong direction. Well, it's not bad at all. And I'm having a nice soar along, really. So this is Carlton Bank. I'll switch you off for now and see how I get on. There, I've flown out a little bit. This is lovely. Just looking down on the fields, flying out from the ridge. Really smooth air, really this way, look at that. Beautiful. Well, I've flown quite far out from the hill on what appears to be a bit of a lifting line. Now, I should explain lifting lines. Sometimes you get lines of lift directly into wind, caused by really streams of little thermals along that line. And if you can pick one of those lines to fly on, then it can either make you go up or extend your glide. So I've gone quite a way out from the hill now, and I've only lost about 200 feet just by going up one of those lifted lines. Sometimes that's a good way to follow a lifted line out a little way, and you might find a strong thermal just a little bit out from the hill. You can see how far I've gone. Now I'm going to see if I can make it back again. Don't really anticipate a problem. I think I'm still above the top, and I think I'll arrive back at the hill round about level with the top or above the top again. In fact, I will be above the top at this rate. Look, you see I'm lifting, I'm nowhere near the hill. That's thermic activity. Good enough to go all the way around the circling. It's starting to form though. So here's a top tip. If you're getting thermals out from the hill, they're usually stronger than the thermals on the hill. Not always, but if you're on a hill thermaling, you can see someone upwind of you thermaling. Quite often their thermal's going to be stronger than yours, so keep an eye on them. So now look, I'm thermaling back towards the hill, and as I'm being blown back towards the hill, I'm going up nicely in this thermal. So by the time I get back to the hill, I'll have gone up. I'm now higher than when I set off from the hill. Paraglider joining me. Now I'm back at the hill, and I'm higher than when I set off from the hill to go out. Just by finding that thermal that was upwind, it was a bit stronger than the bits of thermals I was getting on the hill. Now that's given me the height just to go and explore a little bit further. So I'm going to use that height to go a little bit further to the south and just have a look, see what's down there in terms of lift or not. I expect probably not much in this wind strength and direction and this level of thermic activity. Well, let's go and have a look. Go that way. Gonna head out away from the hill along this lifting line, and then I'll turn back to the south a little bit. So I've flown to the next section of ridge. No lift yet. I'll turn back before I get too low. I'm just sort of experimenting a little bit. It's a bit more out of wind along here, so less likely to work, and also it's lower, so even less likely to work. But we'll see. You don't find out unless you try it. Okay, I'm getting low now, so it's time to turn back. None of that's worked. Turn back before I get too low to get back up again when I'm back. That's my route back. See, I'm going to get back above the top at least. Bit of lift here. Let's have a little play with this. I just love hang gliding. It's nothing like this sense of freedom in anything else. Just whooshing around the sky. Very weak bit of thermal, broken. Just using it to drift myself back to the hill, really. I've had a really nice flight. There have been some better thermals. I've got up to about 2,000 feet is my highest. Not particularly good. A bit punchy in places. Some sort of spring thermals-ish. A little bit rougher places. But generally it's not been too bad. There's also been some really smooth lift, almost like wave. Although I haven't seen any lenticulars, and I don't think it was wave, but it was really nice. So I've had a really nice flight, and I think now it's probably about time that I went to land. So let's have a look at the landing. I'm going to land on the top where Steve landed. There's a big, nice, flat landing area there, and we'll give that a go. So, for landing, I've got my VG quarter, nice and manoeuvrable. I'll unzip the harness in a second, and I'll make sure I've got plenty of speed for landing. It's nice and easy to soar today now. It's a lot better than it was when we first took off. Steve's missed the best bit of it, actually. Wind is still showing westerly at 15 miles an hour on my Vario, which is just about perfect in terms of speed. Direction it could be doing with being west-northwest, but it's still been pretty good in the end. Harness is unzipped nice and early. Not got my legs out yet though. Just so I don't have to think about that at the last minute. People will say, you got your legs out or your harness unzipped really early. Well yeah, but then at the last minute I'm not having to worry about it. Particularly if you get your zip stuck, which is an unusual thing. It's never happened to me, but I know it does happen to people. Wind showing on the windsock still off to the south a little bit, so I'll bear that in mind when I landing. Too far behind the hill, because I've been to wind shadow. So there we go, that was Carlton Bank and a nice top landing, and as you can see, nice large, very flat top landing area, just perfect for it really. And I didn't get any rotor because that's what's coming, that's where the wind's coming across to get to you. So nice and smooth area to land on the top landing. You may have noticed as I came in, I didn't have both hands on the uprights. I had one hand on the base bar, one hand on the upright. And the reason I did that was I'm holding that base bar, it's much easier to pull on extra speed and to pull on that speed and keep that speed until I'm low to the ground. And then when I got close to the ground, I transferred my hand back to the upright, and then it was easy just to round it out a little bit. Because it's quite windy down here, because it's on top, I didn't need to do a big flare. I just slowed the glider down until I was walking along, and that was how easy it is to do a top landing. Generally more easy than bottom landings, unless you're landing somewhere that's where it's rough and turbulent. So I hope you enjoyed that video. That's Carlton Bank, and there'll be more to come soon. See you soon.